Welcome to the Friends of Fantasy Benefits Baseball Podcast. I am Justin Mason, lead fantasy writer and analyst at friendsoffantasybenefits.com. Joining me on this episode is Dave McDonald. Dave, we're in the home stretch for the week.
Yes, sir. It's only 5:11 a.m., so I'm obviously wide awake and ready to roll.
There you go. You're going to have a really fun work day tomorrow. Hopefully you can take a nap at some point.
I'm up.
Oh, there you go. That's helpful. You can reach me on Twitter at Mason FWFB. You can reach Dave on Twitter at RunDMCD.
Add that D.
And you can reach Friends of Fantasy Benefits at Fantasy Benefits. And you can email me the show, friendsoffantasybenefits@gmail.com. Don't forget to give us those 5-star reviews. Really, really helps us out. Make sure if you do it on Spotify that you send a screenshot of it to me either via email or on Twitter. And then on iTunes, you can just do it normally. I can kind of see who does the reviews there. We're going to talk a little strategy. That's what we do on our Thursday episode. And I want to talk about a little something different. I know we are very NFBC centric and focused, a lot of the times, and that's because that's what we mostly play. But we also both play trading leagues. And I think the vast majority of people play in trading leagues. And so I want to talk about kind of general trading strategy because I think it's important. And I think one of the things people misplay the most in leagues is the ability to trade properly. And so I got to ask, Dave, I know you play mostly NFBC, but you do play other leagues like Fantrax and Yahoo. Do you even like to trade?
Sometimes. It can be a very, very frustrating process. And I think part of it with Yahoo anyways that makes it difficult, and maybe I just haven't figured out how their chat system works. So Yahoo has a really, really good app. Like NFBC and Fantrax both don't really have apps, and they kind of just take you to like the site. Like they're kind of just they're not good. I mean, Fantrax got a little bit better, but still not great. Yahoo's app is great. But the problem is for me, when I'm trading in other leagues, non-Yahoo, what I do is like, if it's with my friends or whatever, I'll message them first. And I'll say, hey, who do you like for my team? Or what are you looking for? Who are you targeting for me? Because then I can figure out who they like. Because, if you're just offering someone players, you might think, Sandy Alcantara is still an ace. They might think he's garbage. So you're offering him Alcantara and they're thinking, okay, I'm giving you an ace. Meanwhile, they're thinking, okay, I don't want this guy. He's sucking right now. You need to get a feel for what they think. And the problem with Yahoo is all you can do is send trade offers, and they're limited, by the way. You can only send a limited number of trade offers. Like you can't have active trade offers out for too long. I think you can only have like 5 or something like that. So you can't just send out a bunch. You have to target your trade offers. And you can send it in the little comment section. You can say like, hey, I was thinking I'd give you saves and I need steals. And so this would be a good 1-for-1 deal or whatever. But like, other than that, that's really the only way you can communicate with these people. So it's tough to know what they want. So that's what I mean. Like, and it's also a lot of effort to go through everybody's team and figure out, okay, who do I want from them? Who do I want to trade? Who do they want from me? And it can just be a lot of effort. So I like it in the sense that I usually put in that effort and make some good trades that improve my team. And I leave my ego out of it. But on the other side, it can be really frustrating. And you get a lot of stupid ass offers, like them offering you, Orlando Arcia for Ronald Acuna. And you're like, no, pass. So, it's give and take. I like it and I hate it all at the same time.
I love trading. I think trading is one of the reasons why I fell in love with fantasy, especially because my first fantasy league was an AL-only keeper league, which I think a lot of people would be like, oh, gross, AL-only.
Yes.
But you think there's not a lot of stuff on the waiver wire in a 15-team mix. There's nothing on the waiver wire in a 12-team AL-only league. And so you really had to trade in order to fill voids and fill deficiencies. And it really taught you like how to like trade properly, which is something we're going to talk a little bit about in this episode. And so like coming from that kind of background of, first 10 years of playing fantasy was playing in that kind of format. It really gave me appreciation for what it takes to be a good trader, and to be a thoughtful trader, which I think is important when you're trading, especially in home leagues. It's one thing like in a public league, like you're doing on Yahoo, where it might be high stakes, or but it's still a public league and you don't know these people, as opposed to trading with people in your home league with your friends that you've got relationship with.
How many friendships have you lost because of bad trade offers?
I don't know that I've ever lost any friendships per se. I did get kicked out of my AL only home league that I was in for 15 years.
Jesus, for what?
They told me. I mean, what I think is the truth of the matter is I started writing in the industry and I started kicking the crap out of them. And I think what they told me was my style of play was no longer conducive to the league, which just so happened to
wait. Your style of play, like what the fuck does that even mean? Like the way you set your lineup?
I won 3 out of the last 4 years, and I think what it was I started beating everybody because my style of play the first 11 years was not a problem.
Okay.
But I was also very, very aggressive in trading, and I traded a lot, and it really benefited me and helped me win. And there were a lot of people in that league that, they draft their team on draft day. It was their favorite day of the year. We all got together, did like a 12-hour auction day where we just hung out together all day, and then they didn't really. They'd set their lineups and stuff and, make fat pickups. But they didn't want to do the kind of work I was doing. I think in that regards, I understand why they felt my style of play had an unfair advantage or something.
Well, let me ask you this question. Did your league have vetoing or no?
No, there was no vetoing unless there was like a clear, real issue. With the trade. So like in my first year of fantasy baseball, and this will date me a little bit. I was a 15-year-old kid or something like that, and a team attempted to take advantage. They did take advantage of me in a trade. I traded Esteban Loaiza for Corey Lytle. But Corey Lytle was on an expiring contract, and I didn't realize it because I was 15 years old, not really paying attention. And so like that trade got vetoed. But I could have counted the number of times a veto actually occurred in that league, like on one hand in 15 years of playing in it. I doubt any of I know some of them listened that were the ones that didn't want to kick me out to some of my stuff. But I'm sure the other ones didn't. They're cowards, absolute cowards. I call them out now. 5 years later, I can't remember how many. It's probably been 6 or 7 years since I've been in that league. But let's get back on track and not relive my dark days of being kicked out of a league. I'm not the only league I've been kicked out of too. That's a discussion for a different podcast though, because it didn't have to do with trading. How do you approach trading in general?
Okay, so I'm very thorough and conscientious. I mean, granted, to this point in the season, I have made trade offers, but I haven't done what I do every year, which is like put in like a ton of work into going over not only everything that I need, but everything that every team has and what they can need and all that stuff. So I make a spreadsheet and I put every other team in the league on it. And I look at where they can move up and down in the standings, like the teams that are ahead of me or around me. I'm always looking for ways that I can make them lose points. So it's a zero-sum game because when you go up in a category, someone else goes down. So there's different ways to win trades. So I don't necessarily need to make my team better. I mean, you do want to make your team better, of course, but you also want to hurt your opponents. So Like, let's say there's a couple teams that are in a race for saves. My biggest opponent, the guy who's either in first or second near me, let's say that I want to make him go down. I can make him lose points in a category by trading guys to the people who he's competing with who will help them pass them. So I'm looking for ways to, I want to avoid trading with the teams that are up at the top with me. I want to trade with the teams that are below me that I'm not worried about them in the standings. I want to improve them in places where they can harm my opponents while also helping myself. So I'm making the spreadsheet with, all these owners on it, targets, where I can gain, where I can afford to lose too. So like, let's say, when you're talking about gaining in saves, typically you're talking about possibly losing points in wins and or Ks as well. So I'm like, do I have a big lead somewhere where I can afford to lose, or maybe I lose 1 point here, but I can gain 5 points in this other category? I'm looking at every way to both help myself and hurt my biggest opponents. The reason I don't make a lot of trades before, like, say, July is because I don't know what I need yet, because I'm still figuring out what my team is up until that point. I'm still figuring out, I might have started slow in power, but I've picked up some guys. Do I still need power, or am I on a trajectory now where I'm okay there? I'm looking at all that stuff. I'm looking to buy low and sell high. I know it sounds simple, but don't trade for players on a hot streak, because people are going to overvalue them. Don't trade for guys who are overperforming. Before he got hurt, John Gray was on a huge bender. Just heater, just going off, and he looked great. But, I was looking to trade him. I had him in one of my Yahoo leagues, and if I could trade him, if someone valued him as like an ace or somewhere around there, I was willing to trade him. I'm also looking to trade away guys who are injury prone but are healthy right now, as you mentioned on our prior pod. It's always a good idea. A lot of these guys are not going to stay healthy, who have big track records of not staying healthy. John Gray being one of them. You want to trade those guys. If they're at where you think is their peak of their season, that's when you're looking to get rid of them, because that's where you can get the most value, and that they're not going to keep going there. Find guys who are struggling but who are due positive regression. I was looking at Vlad Guerrero's stats earlier, and like his home run per fly ball rate is way lower. And that's one of the main things I look at for hitters, like power hitters especially. If their home run per fly ball rate is out of whack, but everything else looks good, that means that they're just getting unlucky on their fly balls and they're just not going out, but they will. Especially as we get into summer here, and typically as the weather heats up, so do the bats. So I'm looking at guys who are underperforming, but all the stuff underneath the surface says that they still look good. So I'm looking to trade for those guys, because I can trade hopefully less than what they're actually worth, because the surface stats say that that's where they're at. So, I'm just trying to do a number of things right now, but I'm not quite at the point where I've made that spreadsheet. So probably coming up in about a week or two will be when I'll put that together, and then I'll start sending out some very targeted offers that both help me and hurt my opponents.
So I do a very similar thing, but I think this is a real distinction between, the leagues that you're playing in and a lot of the leagues I'm playing in, and that is you're playing in public leagues with people you do not have relationship with, right? And you won't have relationships with. You may play against them in future leagues, but probably not, right? Because there's just so many public leagues.
So a lot of the people I've played against before, like, you see a lot of the same names, you know what I mean? And,
sure.
and especially in high stakes, you're going to, like, in multiple of my leagues, I see the same guys. So yeah, I know it's the same person in all my leagues, but I get your point.
So whereas I'm playing in dynasty leagues, I'm playing in keeper leagues, or I'm just playing in redraft leagues, but I know these people, and I'm going to have like long-term, I know I'm going to be in the same league with these same, guys and gals every single year moving forward. And so one of the things I like to talk about in terms of trading is that trading is like a relationship, right? If you screw over your partner one too many times, you're going to end up doing it by yourself, which is not what you want, right? And people aren't going to want to trade with you. And I have been in leagues with people that I will not trade with. One guy used to work at Friends of Fantasy Benefits, former podcaster and writer Ben Prentice. I won't trade with Ben. Just won't do it because I don't like the way he operates, and I'm sure Ben still listens to the pod.
Is he one of those people who throws out like the super low ball offers? Like I hate the people who throw out what they call starter offers. I just have no patience for that shit. Like give me an offer that you think I could reasonably accept that helps me as well as helps you, because I think that's what you're getting at, is they have to be mutually beneficial trades.
Yeah,
and absolutely. It's like you want to trade from your strengths to address your weaknesses, but address their weaknesses as well. Don't offer them something that they clearly don't need, and don't offer them something that's clearly bullshit just because you're trying to start a conversation or whatever. Throw out legit offers.
And so, like, I do things very differently each time I'm interacting with someone, but I'm also usually pretty honest and upfront about what I'm doing. And what happened with Ben was him and I were in a dynasty league together, and I told him, listen, I'm very busy right now. He was trying to rebuild. I was trying to compete. And he wanted Garrett Richards, who was, a younger pitcher at the time. And I was looking at Carlos Gomez. And I said, hey, you know what? I'll do a Carlos Gomez straight up for Garrett Richards. Or I told him to send me his best offer. And he said, well, why don't we just do Garrett Richards straight up for Carlos Gomez? And I said, fine, deal. And he thought that was his starter offer and then started back off after I said, fine, deal. And I was like, hey, listen, you offered, I accepted. That's the end of it. If you don't want to do that, then don't bother coming to me with future trades. And he's tried to keep negotiating, and that was the end of it for me. So, wow. Because, I told him what I was doing. I needed to make a deal quick. I didn't have time to bullshit, and I accepted, and then he backed out.
I think a lot of people get scared off when you accept their offer, because they're like, oh God, I thought I was lowballing them. Why did they accept this? And then they're thinking oh God, maybe I missed something, or maybe there's some reason that they're, it's like, Jesus Christ, man.
I think part of it too is I going back to kind of what you were talking about as part of what you said as the answer to this question was, winning the trade is not as important as winning the league. I don't mind losing 100%. A trade or getting the lesser end of a trade if it's helping me advance in the league.
I had this as an answer to one of your future questions, but yes.
Yeah. And so, to me, I'm very honest with the people I'm working with, mostly because I know that I'm going to be trading with these people in the future, and I don't want them to look at me as the kind of guy who's going to screw them over in trades. Does that mean I don't try to get the better end of a deal? Absolutely, I'm trying to get the better end of the deal, but I also want them to walk away happy, so that way they know, hey, later on, if they need to make a trade, that I'm the person they can come to first to potentially work out an easy deal. So, hopefully that is the kind of way you approach things with a trade, because you don't want to be the guy. There's a guy, I don't think he's in the industry anymore, but he was, a dynasty guy, right? And he was in a lot of these industry dynasty leagues, and he was known for being super aggressive in trading, the kind of guy who would send you 40 trade offers in a row, none of which were good.
Yeah.
And there were other people in the industry who would put out their trade block and then say, I will not trade with blah, blah, blah. Don't send me anything. So don't be that guy. Don't be the person that sends extreme low ball offers. Don't be the person, you might get one trade offer, but it also shows lack of respect for your competitors.
Exactly.
If you're sending like you said, the Jace Peterson for Ronald Acuna kind of trade, it means you think that person is stupid enough to accept that deal. And
it's like they're hoping that you accidentally hit the accept button instead of the reject button.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, if you're going to treat people like that, they're not going to want to deal with you. So it's just bad business practice to me.
And so you're right. And you know, and yes, it is more of a factor for you playing with the same people year in and year out, for sure. But I will tell you, I've gotten so many bad offers from some people within one season of people that I don't fucking know that I said, fuck them. I'm not even dealing with them anymore. Even though there's like, this would make a lot of sense. Every time I do it, I get grief from them, or like they reject it and then counter with some bullshit that's not even close to a fair offer. And I just get frustrated and I say, I'm not even bothering them. I move on to the next person, because I'm not going to sit here and waste. Cause like sometimes you don't even hear back from people for like days. You know, I might send out a trade offer and not hear back. Like I might send it out on Monday and not hear back until like Friday or Saturday. So I got to wait for them to reject it before I can send out another offer sometimes, because I've got other offers out, or I like this offer more than I like making another offer, but I have to wait to see about this one first. And so, I'll keep a list of players like, okay, I'm not trading with this guy because he's unreasonable, you know? And that's the thing that happens even within the span of a season, even within a group of people that don't know each other.
I will say, you know, the other thing that I do that you obviously can't do in these kind of Yahoo leagues and Fantrax leagues is I really try to have a communication, whether it's on the phone or via text, somewhere away from the app. The best trader I have ever encountered is Ian Kahn. And I mean, Ian's a buddy of mine, but I once got a phone call from Ian, because Ian will call you, whatever league you're in, to make the trade. He's not going to do it via email. He's not going to do it via text. He's going to call you on the phone. And my wife once heard me, you know, pick up the phone and talk to Ian, and afterwards said, your voice changed. I was like, yeah, because I'm putting on my fucking poker face, because Ian's a damn good trader and makes you feel so good about the trade. And then you look at it at the end and you go, oh fuck, I think he fleeced me, but I still feel good about that trade. He's just so good at it. And you know, and just, you know, and but also because he makes you feel good about making those trades. And so something I've tried to do is try to talk to people outside of whatever app or whatever. You know, sometimes it's just through like DM or, you know, or text, but if it's on the phone, if possible, because I think it gives you that added personal touch.
100%. Couldn't agree more. And, you know, me being, you know, a personable person, like I like dealing with people. Like that's where I thrive. You know, I was a psychology major too. Like there's a lot of psychology involved in trading and all this stuff and making people feel good. And 100% when I was in friend leagues, I was that guy. I was the Ian Kahn. I was the one talking to people. And, you know, like I said, my first move is always asking people, what do you like? What are you looking for from me? And then once I know what they like, then I can make them a deal that I can tailor an offer to them that I know that they're going to be into, because they just told me that they like this player, you know? And I think some people don't like to show their cards, and it's like, okay, but like, then we're not going to get anything done. If I'm just blindly throwing offers at you that I know, now I know what a fair offer is, but I don't know what my opponents know is the problem. And they might think that it's not fair, even though I know it is. So that's a huge component that's missing, because in Yahoo, you know, there's no easy way to contact these people. And, you know, I'm not going to give them my phone number. I guess you could.
Yeah.
I guess you could put in your comments section. Like, I guess you could give them your email or whatever. There's probably something you could do. I guess you can write on like, they've got like the league message board. Yeah. But like, that's such a, it's such a
I don't like giving out my phone number to random
No, I really don't want to give out a phone number. I was thinking maybe an email.
That's a good way to get a bunch of phone calls at 4:00 in the morning.
Or pictures of them in a mankini.
Yes, which I do send with every trade offer.
I was gonna say, just to be clear, Fantrax, there is no trading. It's only my Yahoo account has trading.
What is the most frustrating part of trading with people?
I mean, it's getting the fucking stupid ass offers that literally they think you're a dumbass to accept. Like it's just my blood boils, and it shouldn't, right? Like it's like, okay, who gives a shit? Like whatever. But like I just get so angry, and I'm like, why are you fucking doing this? Like just make it a legit offer. I mean, just give me something to work with here. Also, the other side of that is seeing other people be dumbasses and accept bad trades, and seeing your opponent skyrocketing up because he just got Acuna because someone traded him Vlad for whatever. You know, someone made a bad deal, and you're like, oh my god, did that really just happen? And you can't do anything about it.
Yeah, I think that is probably the most frustrating part, is seeing other trades happen where you go, I would have given you a hell of a lot more than what you just gave up for player X. And one of the reasons why, like, usually before I make a trade, like, I put out to the league, like, I am looking to trade this player. And then, you know, if no one comes to me other than like one or two people and I make my trade, like, then it's on the other people. Like, you should have. But this is also why, like, I am in constant conversation with most people in my league in trading leagues. Like, I am constantly checking in, and I'm going, like, you know, and I don't do it as much anymore. One, because I don't play in as many trading leagues, and two, I don't have the time. But when I'm looking to make trades, or I see someone else put out their block, I'm messaging them. If there's someone on that block I want or that I'm interested in, I'm messaging them. I'm trying to keep in constant contact. The other thing for me is very similar to what you said in terms of like the bad trade offer, but it's more the bad trade offer, like where it's not a bad trade offer on the surface, but it doesn't help you. Like the whole, like, oh, here's this closer, you know, that, you know, is way better than the hitter I want back from you. But dude, I'm leading by 15 saves. Like, I don't need saves. Like, look at my team. Look at what I need before you send me a trade offer. It's just a waste of my time.
Yeah, that's when they're just looking at their team and saying, "Well, I don't need this player, and I really want this player." And it's like, you're not even. I always look at what they have and what they need first, and I mean that's just should be common sense. The other thing is when you were talking about the trading block and telling people, like, putting it out there that you're looking to deal someone. The problem with that is that then devalues them to them. Like they think that either there's something wrong with that player, like why don't they want him, or they think that they can lowball you because, oh, well, he wants to trade him, so he'll accept less than what he's worth. And so that's kind of part of the problem with putting it out there that you're looking to deal someone. Even though I know, I don't think of it that way. You're like, listen, I'm ahead in saves. I'm willing to deal Emmanuel Clase, but that doesn't mean that I'm just willing to give him away for less than what he's worth. That just means I want what he's worth in another area. I want either a hitter or an ace or whatever.
Yeah, I don't mind. Like, if it thinks that makes someone else think I'm devaluing a player, maybe it gets a deal done. Maybe it doesn't. Like, I don't worry about that as much. I know what a player's worth to me and what I'm willing to trade and what I'm not willing to trade, and that's fine with me. You know, we already talked about it. Like, is it better to win the deal or make it even? Right? We both want
win
to
the deal.
Just bet. Sorry.
No, win the league, not win the deal. Like, take ego out of it. Don't try to win. Honestly, I actively try to lose trades because those are the only deals that get accepted most times in my high stakes leagues. Like, I'm looking to give them a deal that they can't say no to, but that still improves my team. Like, I'll give you a better player. I'll take the lesser player, but the lesser player is going to help me win the league. Or
sometimes it's about helping the fourth place team pass the third place team.
And that's what I said earlier. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like it's a zero-sum game. So you don't have to just help yourself move up. You can help your competition move down. And that helps too.
What are some of the mistakes you think people make when trading?
I mean, I think we covered a lot of the mistakes. You know, don't offer stupid trades. You know, not looking at what other people need first. Another thing is don't be an emotional trader. You know, and don't make, like, the biggest thing I see is people get antsy when someone has like a big game or whatever. That's when they'll make an offer for them. Don't do it coming off of a high. Do it when someone's at a low point, you know, like look for the guys who are struggling, but the skills look good, you know. Don't try to trade for someone on a heater because they're going to way overvalue them and they think they can get the world for them now. So, you know, I think that's a big thing.
I got one.
Keep a constant eye on the standings in terms of like in one of my Yahoo leagues, there's a team who has like 30 more saves than everybody else. And I'm just thinking like, why the fuck are you still playing all these closers? Like trade them. You don't need them. They have value to other people and they ain't catching you. So trade one or two of them, you know, don't keep collecting stats that you're already really far ahead in. You know, look to maneuver those stats to something that you do need.
I completely agree. I think way too often, like people are because they don't want to quote unquote lose the deal. Like one of the frustrating things, and I ranted about this on the Sleeper on the Bus this week because in Tout Wars no one will trade with me, and it's super super frustrating because like I'm offering what I think are really fair deals that could help both sides. And I'm either getting lowball kind of counters or people like our buddy Sir Nick Pollock who just don't trade like for some reason. You
now,
know,
is that
like,
because he doesn't have time or he doesn't believe in it?
I don't know. I really don't. He needs on base percentage and stolen bases. I need power. He's got a ton of power. I have a ton of on base percentage and stolen bases. And so I offered him Nico Horner straight up for Willie Adames, and he has not responded. That offer was sent last week. So, and I have his phone number. Like I texted him. Like I feel like that's a pretty fair trade. Like it helps us both. If anything, he might be getting the better end of it.
The person in the friend league, when you have a friend league, there's usually one person who's like the nucleus. They always have an advantage because they already have everybody's phone number. Like they're friends with everybody. The problem is like when you're a fringe guy and you're like, okay, well, this is like a friend of a friend. I don't know them. I don't have their number. You know, I mean, you can ask for it or whatever, but it's still like, it's not the same as like me calling you up and be like, hey, Justin, what do you think about this deal?
That being said, Nick and I are friends. We're friends. You know, and I mean, I've offered like I've got 4 catchers in this league that are playable, and like I need to trade one. And there are people playing Christian Vasquez, and we're playing Zunino.
Hey, he hit a 3-run homer tonight. All right,
I know. Now I'm never going to be able to trade that dude to catcher. Like
Tony and I just fucking dropped him in the main, and he hits a 3-run homer, his first of the year. And I go, hey Tony, guess who hit his first homer of the year? Well, he's like, who the fuck else hasn't hit a home run? It has to be Christian Vasquez. And I'm like, of course it was Christian Vasquez because we just fucking dropped him.
So, but just it's super super fucking frustrating, you know. When you can't get a deal done in a trading league. I mean, that's one of the reasons I like NFBC so much is I don't have to worry about it.
True.
But the other thing that I think people are afraid to do, which I think is a mistake, is make the first offer. The vast majority of trades that get worked out are based on the first offer. They may not be the exact first offer, right? Different pieces move in and out, but it's usually not considerably different from that first offer. It sets the tone of what the trade is going to look like. And I think way too often people are afraid of like, oh, I'm going to make this offer and they can instantly accept it and I've given away too much. But ultimately, like, the framework of a deal is often made in that first offer. And so don't be afraid to make that, you know, don't be the person that always goes, well, what will you give me for? Or, well, what do you want to do? That's giving that person the power to set the framework of the deal.
Okay. So you're saying you want the power of the framework of the deal?
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
Okay.
You know, I because I can if they don't like it, they can always just say no. And if I don't like what they return with, I can always say no. But quite often, I'd say a good 75-80% of the time, the framework of a deal is set in that first offer, right? And so you want to be the person in that power position, you know? And so like the ancillary pieces, they're going to move around, they're going to change. But ultimately, the framework of the deal is set up in that first offer. You want to make that first offer more often than not.
Okay. That's an interesting point. I've never really thought about that. I guess the thing is, I know because I'm usually the reasonable one in the trade deal. I think that not the only ones, but most of the trades that get done for me are ones that I have to be the one who accepts. Like, I just think that most people feel like they should never accept a deal that's offered to them. They only want to accept deals that they offer.
Yeah, and I mean, you're going to get people like that, but usually those are the people you're not going to end up working out trades with.
True.
Like, I mean, that's what ends up happening. But I mean, I think way too often people, and I'm guilty of this as well, especially, you know, when we're talking about sports I don't know as well. I'm in basketball leagues, I'm in football leagues. I know football fairly well, but I'm not nearly as in tune as I used to be. You know, and I'll be much more likely to be like, okay, well, send me an offer. But in baseball leagues, I definitely try to be the first person to set an offer, just because I feel like, hey, you may add a piece, I may add a piece, we may subtract pieces, but it's going to look like that original offer in some regard.
Okay.
So, got any other last minute thoughts on trading?
I think that's it.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap us up for this episode. You can reach Dave on Twitter at RunDMCD.
Add that D.
You can reach me on Twitter at Justin Mason FWFB. You can reach Friends with Fantasy Benefits at Fantasy Benefits. Email me of the show, friendswithfantasybenefits@gmail.com. Don't forget those 5-star reviews. It really, really helps us out. That is going to wrap us up for this episode. For Dave and myself, thanks for listening. Have a fantastic baseball season.
Good night.